Welcome back to Next Shift with Rick Wagan. Suzuki does not suck. The Canadiens just come off a game last night against the Philadelphia Flyers, losing 6-4. It was an unfortunate loss, a bad loss for the Montreal Canadiens. In the first period, they came out fairly flat. Michkov scored the first goal, and then a few minutes later, 8 minutes into the game, Alex Newhook, with a pass from David Savard, broke free, took a beautiful shot in the top corner and scored a goal to make it 1-1. The Canadiens were back in it for a minute, but it didn't take long before Nicolas Stoury scored to make it 2-1. And then a minute after that, Sean Couturier made it 3-1, and the Canadiens fell behind 3-1 in the first period. They just didn't come out to play the first period at all. In the second period, there was no scoring. It was a kind of a back and forth game. The Canadiens didn't take full advantage of their opportunities, and unfortunately it stayed 3-1. They did score early in the third period by Cole Caulfield to make it 3-2 and to make it a game. They pushed a little bit harder to try to tie the score, but at 10 minutes into the third period, Jason Forster scored. It was a controversial goal where Bobby Brink was in the crease. It looked like he may have impeded Dobish a little bit. It would have been an incredible save with or without Brink in the crease, but at the end of the day, the Canadiens lost the challenge, and turned out to give up a goal in that power play to Sean Couturier on a breakdown on the, I guess they tried to score a shorthanded goal. It didn't work out well, and obviously they fell behind 5-2. Christian Dvorak did score a couple minutes later to make it interesting, 5-3, but then Matvei Michkov on a turnover by Matheson, who gave up a breakaway to Michkov, finished it off to make it 6-3. Canadiens were out of it. They did pull their goalie with 3 minutes left. Patrick Laine scored a goal assisted by Nick Suzuki and Slavkovsky. They did a little push to try to get a fifth goal. The score ended up 6-4. The Canadiens lose. The Canadiens give up an opportunity to gain some points on the teams behind them. The Ottawa Senators did beat the Detroit Red Wings, so the Detroit Red Wings remain 3 points behind the Montreal Canadiens, and the Canadiens still have a game in hand. The Columbus Blue Jackets are at 70 games and 73 points, 2 points behind the Montreal Canadiens. The Columbus Blue Jackets have a game in hand on the Montreal Canadiens, so therefore, if they do win that game, they're even. The New York Rangers are at 74 points, 1 point behind the Montreal Canadiens, and the Canadiens have a game in hand. And then the New York Islanders are at the same amount of games, 1 point behind the Montreal Canadiens. The Canadiens play tonight against the Carolina Hurricane. It's a game that they are going back-to-back. The Hurricane haven't played in a few days. Montembeau's in nets. There's a game-time decision on whether Guhle will come in. It's not sure if they're going to play 7 defensemen and 11 forwards, or the regular 6 and 12, and unsure who they would pull out. It's most likely going to be Xhekaj or Savard, but we'll have to see how it plays out. Struble has been playing a lot of minutes, and some good minutes with Hudson, who had a brilliant game last game again, getting 2 assists, was a +1 in the game. Overall, Lane Hudson is playing some solid hockey. I was very disappointed in Matheson's game. This is back-to-back games now where he looked pretty awful. He looked really good, like I said, coming off the Four Nations Cup. Now I'm a little bit worried about some of the mistakes he's making. We'll see how it all plays out, but the Montreal Canadiens are now still in a wild card spot, still with 11 games left in the season, have a good chance to make the playoffs, but they have to turn it back on. Their spark is out right now. They looked pretty awful against the Avalanche. They came back. Then they looked pretty awful against the Blues. They did not come back. And then they obviously looked terrible against the Philadelphia Flyers, who were reeling going into that game. Now, they did fire Tortorella. They might have had that new coach boost. Hopefully that's what it is, and the Canadiens can turn it on tonight against the Carolina Hurricane, who are 8-2 in their last 10. So they're playing some solid hockey as well. It's going to be a tough go-ahead for the Montreal Canadiens. They then get to play the Florida Panthers, who are 6-4 in their last 10 games, on Sunday afternoon, and then it's pretty much a back-to-back against the Florida Panthers on Tuesday. They play it back at home against the Panthers. So once we get into April, the Montreal Canadiens schedule gets a little bit easier, but all in all, it will be a tough road ahead to make the playoffs. Tonight, the Montreal Canadiens play the Hurricanes at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The Blue Jackets play the Canucks, who are fighting for a playoff spot as well. That's a big game for the Montreal Canadiens and for the Canucks. And then the Rangers are playing the Ducks. The Rangers are not playing too well lately, but they are playing a team in the Ducks who are starting to turn it on, and they're close to 500. They're definitely playing some good games. I'm planning to be at that game in Southern California. Cutter Gauthier and family are going to be there, so it's looking forward to that game tonight after the Montreal Canadiens take on the Carolina Hurricanes. It's going to be a tough one tonight. I'm a little bit concerned of how the Canadiens are playing. They have to turn on a new switch. I find that every time they're chasing a team for a playoff spot, they're playing a different style or a different brand of hockey compared to once they're in the playoff spot. This is one of those games that if they do not win, they're most likely going to fall out of their playoff positioning. So, like I said, the Montreal Canadiens have a big game tonight. It's a back-to-back. It would be a huge win. It could erase the Philadelphia game and the Philadelphia loss if they can win this game. On Saturday, the Canadiens' opponents, I guess you can call it, or the teams they're facing, are the Islanders are playing the Lightning, and the Blue Jackets are playing the Senators, and the Red Wings are playing the Bruins. The Rangers are playing the Sharks. So the Rangers have a couple of games against some teams that are not currently in the playoffs, so they're prone to have a good opportunity to win. And then looking at Sunday, the Islanders and the Hurricanes play, which would be an interesting game for the Montreal Canadiens to watch. So the Hurricanes, the Islanders, the Rangers, I guess you can look at the Ottawa Senators and you can look at Detroit, but it's feeling like a 4-team race between the Canadiens, Rangers, Islanders, and Hurricanes. The Canadiens definitely missed a lot of opportunities. They've lost 4 games in a row, 2 in overtime, and ultimately the Canadiens need to start putting up 2 points on the board every time they play for a couple of weeks. So down to 11 games, the Canadiens are in the mix. Got to remember that this is what we were hoping for. And although the Canadiens are not playing the greatest hockey now, if they could turn it around in the next couple of games, play some good hockey going into the last week or 2 of the season, if they could turn it on to how they were playing in mid-December or right after the Four Nations break to right towards the end of the season, then they become a dangerous team. Right now, they're not a very dangerous team. Hopefully tonight is the switch. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping for that. I'm calling for that. I'm not making any more predictions because my predictions have not been that good lately. So I'm just going to wish and hope for the Montreal Canadiens to play a solid game tonight. I'll do a post-game show probably tomorrow because I'm heading over to the Ducks-Rangers game. But I look forward to getting back with you guys on Saturday before the game on Sunday. This is fun. That's all we have to hope for. Looking forward to the win. We're looking for the Montreal Canadiens. That's it for me. That's it for Next Shift. Suzuki does not suck. Talk to you guys soon.